20 years I've owned a detective agency, and I come from a law enforcement family. And I'm here today to talk to you about my son. You see, one of the biggest fears I have for him is that one day he might meet one of you. One of you who is out there trying to do the best job that you know how. But you just may not know how to deal with my son. You see, my son has autism. Autism will be referred to by different terminology depending on the part of the country you're in or who's speaking. It may be referred to as pervasive developmental delay, or PDD, sometimes autism, sometimes Asperger's syndrome, or autistic spectrum disorder. You're about to meet 5 teenagers and spend some time with them and their families. We're going to point out some behaviors you should look out for and offer suggestions on the best ways to deal with them. You won't be an expert about autistic spectrum disability at the end of this, or able to diagnose autism, but you will be a little smarter. We'll begin with the basics. Autism is a serious disorder of behavior and communication. 15 children out of every 10,000 are born with autism. Boys 4 times more likely than girls. Characteristics are usually noticed in the first 3 years of life. There's no specific test to diagnose autism, but there are many behavioral indicators. Here are 5. Abnormal ways of relating to people. A child with autism may avoid eye contact. Unusual attachment to inanimate objects, like toys. Communications disorders like poor use of language. In fact, children with autism have a lot of trouble understanding the purpose of communication. Impulsive behavior with no real fear of danger. And repetitive movements, like arm movements or rocking. We don't yet know what causes autism. We do know that it's not caused by the parents' personalities or the way they raise their kids. And we know that it lasts a lifetime, even though some people make remarkable gains.
Hi, my name is Dustin.
Meet Dustin, 13 years old. He's very talkative. He looks at you when he's talking.
What does that taste?
His favorite thing to do when he gets home from school every day is to, as he puts it, play with his guys. Dustin is an engaging child. His vocabulary is impressive. At first glance, you may not notice anything unusual, but take a second look. Talk to him and you'll soon notice that Dustin likes to ask questions.
Can I finish this now? What are we going to do now? What's inside that camera? What time are we leaving?
A lot of questions.
Why?
He does. And you know what's funny is he never talked till he was almost 4. And now some of the stuff that comes out of him, it's like, whoa. A real good example. 2 weeks ago I took him to get the pictures taken, his family picture. Never been in this woman's house before. She does it in her home. And the boy knew magic. And this kid didn't want to show Dustin. Well, Dustin went right to her and he's in her face, like grabbing her, going, he won't show me. And I mean, she's like, wow, you know, what's wrong with this kid? You know, and so I had to like, you know, I'm really sorry, you know, he has autism. Well, what's autism? You know, but she's in a panic state because this boy and he's kind of big, and that, like, situations like that, it's so embarrassing, you know.
We followed Dustin and his family as they went to their neighborhood grocery store.
Did she buy you some AA?
Yeah.
All right, then you don't need them. Hang on to your coupon.
It's the continuous questioning of stuff. You know, like, he was on them batteries. Normally, even if he has a pack of batteries at home, he would still want those batteries because they go to his guys and he doesn't ever want to run out. Normally, he doesn't like to go to the store, but there's things that we have to take him because you can't leave him home by himself. But basically, it's just the constant questions, and he doesn't know how to make up his mind, like in them videos. He wanted the Sesame Street thing only because of his squeezable guys that he has, the ones that talk, like the Talking Elmo and Ernie. But he really doesn't like it enough to want the video, so he sits and contemplates over it until we say something. But if we don't say anything, he'd just sit there, keep thinking about trying to make up his mind, which he really didn't want it in to begin with.
The family says they worry about Dustin playing with the neighborhood kids, that the kids don't understand Dustin, and Dustin doesn't understand them. But the worry doesn't stop there. They say their experiences taught them that there are a lot of grown-ups who don't understand as well.
So he's a neat kid, you know. He really is. He's a really neat kid. And you just got to have patience with him. You know, and that's the key. It's just patience. And that's the only way he's going to make it.
This is Michael. At times he seems very bright and very normal. He's 15 years old, and tonight is a special night for him because he's visiting his mother. For the past 15 months, he's been living in a group home because his mother felt that she couldn't deal with him anymore.
What really was the final straw was the night he ran away in his underwear in the freezing rain. He was kicking me. He waited until we had a county worker here, TSS, here with me until 9 o'clock, and at 9:30, by 9:15, he waited until they left, and then he came after me because he was mad at me because they wouldn't let him do something. So he came after me and started kicking me in the shins, and I already had black and blue marks all over my legs. And he was punching me, and my husband went in to restrain him to get him off of me, and he got scared. So he ran away in his underwear. And it was 33 degrees. It was freezing rain. I thought to myself that night, you know, if the police would have picked him up, if someone would have said there's a kid in his underwear out in my backyard, and he would have started talking to them like he talks, they would have thought he was on drugs. They'd have handcuffed him and thrown him in the backseat of the squad car. So that really scared me.
Tonight, as we watch, her conversation with her son is all about tickling and touching and getting him to understand just what's appropriate behavior. Remember that phrase, appropriate behavior. You'll hear it again. It's as if Michael and other kids like him have just landed on this planet and have to be taught all about our customs.
Could you please put that back?
Tonight, she wants Michael to know he cannot tickle her. It's difficult to get through to him. Listen for his halting speech pattern and watch how close Michael stands when he's talking.
I just want to ask you something.
What?
Remember, I always go coochie coochie coo, and I sometimes smack you.
But you're not supposed to do that anymore.
Yeah, and when I tickle you, I had a question. Is that like a private part?
Yeah, a 15-year-old boy doesn't look right walking up and sticking his finger in his mother's underarm.
Like, say if I did this to you and then, 5 minutes again, do it to you again.
Yeah, but most 15-year-old boys don't walk up to
Oh, I wouldn't do it,
But even once. Well, you have to really explain things to Michael. I mean, you can't just give him a quick answer because he really doesn't understand. And plus the fact that he likes to control the situation.
Notice the hesitant eye contact when Michael speaks. Autistic people often have difficulty coordinating different processes or taking in information through more than one sense at a time. If he's busy thinking about what he's trying to say or listening to what you're saying to him, he may not be tuned into his eyes. You cannot draw conclusions about an autistic person's attentiveness, comprehension, intentions, or sincerity based on his or her eye contact. Michael says he knows he has an anger problem.
I've gotten mad, when people, wouldn't let me, have things my own way. And they wouldn't let me, do certain stuff to them. Whenever I get upset, I'd do something bad. That's what I did. And then I'd maybe hit my mom. Or punch her. That's what I'd do.